Dansby Swanson is connected to one guy. And it's a guy that wears number 2 because he wasn't number 1 in a draft, and Dansby Swanson was. So it's Swanson and Alex Bregman, who are, to me, always connected. And sometimes in baseball history, stars have been aligned. What do I mean by that? Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams were just connected. They're never teammates, but they were superstars in the game at the same time. And it was always Joe D and Ted Williams, the greatest left-handed hitter, maybe the greatest hitter ever. How about Sosa Mcguire? Both chasing the single-season home run record. Rival teams became good friends. Mcguire and Sosa, stars that were aligned. Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens. I mean, these two will go down in history. 400 years from now, they will still be connected. Not for great reasons. They're both highly decorated Hall of Fame talents that will never get in because of PEDs. Trout and Harper, 2 young superstars that took over their own leagues at the same time. Highly touted, Harper more touted than Trout, both first-round talents that have been MVPs. But Dansby Swanson was picked ahead of Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman wore number 2 because he believed he should have been number 1. Both college shortstops. Swanson out of the gate, not even close to Alex Bregman's performance, but Bregman knew what was coming. He knew what pitch was coming his way. His team, well, they were kind of cheating. So if we go to the last 3 years, since 2020, did the Diamondbacks, who actually drafted Dansby Swanson ahead of Alex Bregman, get it right? Since 2020, since the scandal went away for the Astros, it looks like they did. It looks like Dansby Swanson ended up being a better player than Alex Bregman. He's a shortstop. Bregman's a third baseman. His defensive prowess puts him a bit ahead. You saw the wins above replacement. What do you think of that? Did Swanson end up winning this war, comparing these two guys together?
I would say now, yes. And one of the things that I find fascinating about Dansby is his accountability. And the last couple of seasons, Greg, you could virtually write his name in the lineup card. He plays virtually every single day. And that is a hard thing to do in baseball today. The Braves infield last year played more games. I get it, Freddie Freeman isn't there anymore, but Dansby Swanson has really silenced the critics because he was hearing it for a couple of seasons.
He was.
He really was.
And there's one guy that was on that list, was drafted in the top 5, that don't sleep on yet, because Dansby Swanson eventually started to get the bat going. Brendan Rodgers for the Colorado Rockies, his last 10, 15 games, he's playing like a number 1 overall pick. And I remember that night hosting the draft. Brendan Rodgers was considered the number 1 high school player in that draft class, and there was a chance he could have been number 1. So he's still trying to figure it out. He could put up some gaudy offensive numbers, but I don't know. Do you see my point? How players can become eternally connected?
Yes, I definitely see your point. And Dansby Swanson, I was in Atlanta when we traded for him. And one of the things that I noticed right away, this guy had a chip on his shoulder. He was the number 1 pick, and he came to Atlanta with a chip on his shoulder, probably trying to figure out, okay, why did they trade me? I was the number 1 pick. But this is one of the hardest working players in all of baseball. Ron Washington, great friend of mine, when you talk to him about Dansby Swanson, he says, Bo, it's unbelievable the way this guy comes to the ballpark and prepare for a ball game each and every day. He punches the clock every day, and he has unbelievable leadership ability. He's accountable, and his teammates love him.
There are a couple pairs that fit this example. Jazz Chisholm, Zach Gallen were traded for each other, so they're eternally connected, and they want to outperform the other guy. They're paying attention to what the other guy does.